Making change is your formula, right? You get, like you said, you do the vlogging, you do the YouTube, you do the Vine, you do all the stuff, you make change. And I noticed you had a back and forth with Dana. And to be honest, that one kind of threw me off for a loop. Now, I don't know what fighters are getting paid. I don't know the structure of fights, but if you peel back the POV on how you guys live your life and your values are very almost similar. You guys have very good same point of views outside of the paying thing. Have you ever tried to peacefully, instead of like torturing him online, have you ever tried to pull him aside and be like, Dana, explain to me why you're doing this when I know you're standing up for people's rights, you're standing up for the way they speak, you're doing good things behind closed doors. I need you to educate me on why is it that they're risking their lives for this amount of money.
Yeah. I don't think that approach is going to work. It's going to take something else. However, saying you're going to do things for people and saying free speech this and free speech that and doing all types of things is different than your actions. So if you could act like you're a good person and act like you want to help the world and all of these things, but if your actions don't align with that, then you're just a liar. And I'm not saying that's what he is. I think you're right in terms of there's a lot of things that Dana and I agree on. And the vendetta is not necessarily against him. There have been personal attacks thrown because that's where it got to, which he started. I will point that out by calling my fights fake. He was the person that introduced that idea. Bringing in the steroids accusations, that was Dana White. And specifically hiring coaches for Ben Askren to beat me because he wanted me to lose. So there was personal
he chose you as an
things.
enemy.
Yeah, there was personal things on my side of things that were said.
Can I ask you something?
Well,
do you think that okay, for example, right? Say you build a company up, you build up better, and in your heart, you're doing good in your heart, and you feel like you're doing what you wished other people did for you, and then you have another kid out of nowhere come out and be like, bro, how you're running your job is filthy and gross. But he's like, bro, you don't even know who I am, so now you just came at his neck without even asking him his perspective. Would you not give him the right to try to take you out too?
I would take the criticism and listen to it, and especially if it was from my fighters, my heavyweight champions, Francis Ngannou and John Jones, and all of his fighters.
So you're saying there's smoke, there's fire.
Everybody's criticizing him. I was just the loudest about it. Everyone, the whole MMA community, like the fighters on his roster saying we don't get paid enough. So I would look at the criticism, even if I had my opinion, I would get to truth. And that's where I think society is heading. That's why I like Vivek, because he's just about the truth. There's no ego involved, X, Y, Z. However, that's why it's bullshit at some point, because regardless of my attacks on Dana, it's just like and I respect him and his work ethic and what he did for MMA and the company. Everyone thinks I hate the UFC. I was a UFC fan growing up. I still enjoy it.
There's pictures of you going to the Chocolate Dell thing.
This is what I'm saying. Like, people think I hate. No. They have the message misconstrued because of all the drama that got thrown into it. And the message is very simple, and it's just treat fighters better and pay them more. If the fighter minimum payment is $12,500 for a fight. So even if they got 3 fights a year, they're still making not enough to get by, because they have to pay for their own gyms, their coaches, their meals, their camp, their travel, all of these things, right? So if the UFC raised that minimum the fighter minimum to $50,000 a year. Not only would it improve the sport because you'd have more people in gyms more often, the lower level fighters would want to strive to be greater and they would only focus on that. They wouldn't have to be teachers, they wouldn't have to be janitors, and they could focus on their craft, and they could make $50,000 to $100,000 a year if they fought twice. That would cost the UFC $20 million a year. And in terms of what they make, billions and billions.
Do they make billions?
It's the most profitable sport in the world, and I believe it's.
Wait, is that true?
Yes, and I believe it's. I dare say it is. It is. I might want to. I don't know if this is true, but I think it's the only sport that's like 100, like actually profitable. On a fiscal year basis, maybe the NFL, that could be wrong, but it is the most profitable entity.
I thought boxing makes way more than MMA.
Boxers.
So
But
the sport in general doesn't make as much as a UFC? Because in my mind, the reason why I was defending him is because I thought the whole pie was a lot less. So he's trying to do his best to provide in a pyramid like the top champs all the way down to the people that are beginning in that to work up their way to the pot. But if you're saying that they're just, I'm just taking all this and the fighters have to deal with it, that's a different story.
The UFC pays its fighters 15% of the revenue that it makes. Whereas in the NFL, it's 50-50. In the NBA, it's 50-50. So they're basically hoarding that extra 35% for themselves.
That's tough to defend. Especially when it's a brutal sport, bro.
And it's without them, you wouldn't have anything.
And in the NFL, the coaches are paid for. There's health care, long-term health care after 4 seasons. The facilities are paid for. All of these things, the food, XYZ is paid for. So not only is it they make more money, but they also get everything paid for. So it really is a big discrepancy. And again, for a company that's making $1, $2, $3 billion a year, $20 million isn't shit.
Yeah.
And this is where the big thing lies for me, and then like the long-term healthcare. It's like, cool, look at where we've gotten with MMA. Great job, UFC, but like now you should care about
the people that
your
got you there.
employees and the people that got you there, and the fighters are the content. They are the ones risking their lives. And the discussion, also, it's funny because they pay their fighters 15% of the revenue, but that includes Conor McGregor. So like if you got rid of Conor McGregor, it's really like he's 5% of that. So it's like they're actually only giving him like 10%. So it's even crazier if you like actually.
Well, there's some
break
UFC
down
fighters that say they're like, oh, it changes once you get to a level, right? They renegotiate contracts once they start bringing it in. Who's the gentleman that just
like
fought
there's
Tyson?
probably like for a handful of them. Yeah, but they're also still not getting nearly what they deserve by any means. So but let's just start with the minimum and fix that, like, and some health care.
Would you ever be down to sit down, have a conversation with him if he's like, okay, let's throw some ideas out there? Or do you fully think that he's just like, doesn't care, this is truly like his perspective? Is it like his way or the highway because he built this like as his baby?
Yeah, I don't think he believes that they deserve it. I don't think he will change it. And
I would love to have a conversation with him and pick his point of views, because from hearing the way he speaks, I find it challenging to accept that he's selfish. I don't know why. And maybe he's just a great speaker, and that could be a problem. But I would love to challenge his heart, because I would love to see not only you make the change, but I would love to see him step into a light.
We're gonna make the change regardless.
Oh damn. Shit. All right.
No,
well, never
yeah.
mind.
And I'm sure that
We're gonna make a fighters union, and we are making a fighters
You're
union.
like the
We
Fran
have
Dresser. Fran what?
We have been
Fran Dresser
behind the
Dresser?
scenes.
Mr. Sheffield. Did you know what I'm talking
Well,
about here or no?
No, but like,
She's the president of SAG-AFTRA, but
She defends actors. That's why the whole strike happened, is because they were going to even hurt the actors less that don't have any income their way.
Yeah.
And she says, that's it, no
With
one's
AI
acting. And
and
she has the
everything.
power to shut everything down and say, no, we're not moving until you guys understand that I'm going to take care of these actors. And that's
yeah,
what
so
you're trying to do.
Exactly. There's no union for fighters, which is crazy.